Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Fictional Character Motivation. It's where I look at movies, I glean something from movies, and then I pretty much pass it on so we can learn, improve, evolve from movies. I'm your host, Quan, excuse me, and today we're going to be talking about a movie, Edge of Tomorrow, and the importance of repeated practice. Hope everyone was doing awesome today. And here we go. So, Edge of Tomorrow came out in 2014. When Earth falls under attack from close to invincible aliens, no military unit in the world is able to beat them. Major William Cage, an officer who has never seen combat, is assigned to a suicide mission. Killed within moments, Cage finds himself thrown into a time loop in which he relives the same brutal fight and his death over and over again. However, Cage's fighting skills improve with each encore, bringing him and a comrade ever closer to defeating the aliens. I like the take on this movie. I actually like this movie a lot. Had a mix of sci-fi mixed with living the same 2 to 3 days, plus a slight comedic and slight romantic element. You see Cage and the Angel of Verdun, Rita, have to go through the same few days so many times that eventually they get good. They get skilled in almost every scenario. To the point where Cage started new, he didn't even know how to fight these aliens. He comes out as an expert on how to, yeah, he comes out as an expert on how to take out these things. So, we see the value of repeated practice, which, when you really think about it, is what training really is. When you think about it, whether it's, military training, martial arts training, weight training, sales training, forklift training, anything that involves training, anything where you have to learn something to get better at it. Technically, it's training. It's practice, repeated practice, practice with a purpose. You are doing something to the point to where it is the new normal for you, where it is easy for you. Like lifting a heavy weight, you are not just lifting that weight. I know you want to feel that way, but you're not just lifting a weight. You are moving that weight till your body is used to it. You keep lifting that weight until it becomes easy to where your body is expecting to move that weight. And eventually, once you build up on it, you get to you get to move more weight. But before even then, guess what happens while you're moving that weight? Once you're getting used to that weight. With that practice comes other benefits. You look better, move better, feel better. You can do some things that you probably couldn't have done before, but now you can. And there are two kinds of practice that can help and improve you in any field. There's, of course, the physical practice, the doing, the actual learning through action. And there's the mental practice, mental rehearsal, visualization. Both of these are super important because, for one, physical practice, You can't really learn many things unless you actually try to do them. But with research from Joe Dispenza and other people, and I've mentioned this before, is that they pretty much do a study that the same people, they did a study with people who were using a piano. They had people who are practicing the piano physically, and then they had people who were mentally playing, who were playing the piano mentally inside their heads, watching videos, trying to get the movements down, trying to do all that going on in there. And what they realized is that the imprint mentally in the brain, the people who were doing their practice mentally, visualizing mental rehearsal almost for the same amount of time, an hour every day, had the same pretty much sparks in the brain, synapses, trying to find the expensive word, but I don't have it, had the same fires and had the same sparks in the brain as much as the people who were physically learning that. Let that sink in, please. Let that sink in, that mental rehearsal affects the brain just as much as physical practice, physical rehearsal. Let that sink in. And you're wondering how to do that then. You're wondering, how can I apply that? Well, when you mentally rehearse something, when you do it correctly, what usually helps, and I've read this and done some of this, is that you want to think about every detail, every feeling, every sensation. An example that I've used this is when I was practicing for getting my black belt in judo. Granted, I don't know how long I got now because, COVID happened. But during the times where I was confident that this year I might get my black belt in judo, every now and again, I'll practice some throws in my head. And I practice, okay, I'm throwing this person. How does it feel to pull this person? What's the gi feel like? How my grip feels? I see myself going into the rotation, going into position of throwing that person. Okay, I'm doing this. Their arm's going to be right here. I'm going to clench it. I'm going to feel this. How's that feel right there? How's it look? And not just look from, from film from afar, but how's that look if I was there? Like if I was doing the throwing, it's a different perspective. Towards it's like, okay, he's on me. How does this weight feel on my body? How do I move? How do I know I'm in a good position? Look down at my feet. Am I in a good position? Does it feel solid? All that can help. Just gotta know how to apply it correctly. And this cannot, this effect with the piano, with what Joe Dispenza talks about, this rehearsal does not only can only apply in just talents. It can apply to just about anything when you think about it. Now, I would say the punchline is that I'd want you to do both physical practice and mental practice so you can be ahead of most people. But let's go for some applications. Let's give some ideas. For instance, working out. You can physically work out, but you can also mentally work out. Think about doing a certain muscle. How does that feel? What's the motion look like through your eyes? How are you executing everything right? If you keep doing that, it has been shown that the same muscles that the person who are doing physical practice in that exercise is affected the same way as people who are doing mental practice. feel me? You feel me? I think you might be. Let's see here. How about positive mindset? Some people might go like, oh, I'm not that positive. Well, why don't you first say positive stuff? Try to say positive stuff. And then mentally rehearse you saying positive stuff. Mentally rehearse you being a positive person. How about we start with that? Because eventually, as you know, just like the Matrix, what the mind goes through, the body goes through. And it's just like that, just like control. Same thing can go with being more social. Oh, I don't know how to talk to people. You're right. You don't try enough. How about you start with, talking to the servers, talking to the cashiers. How about you start there? And then when you get home, mentally rehearse talking to the people that you want to try to talk to one day, or even people that you don't even know yet. Just start trying to spark a conversation. How should you talk to this person? What are you feeling? How is the situation going? Don't just sugarcoat, be like, oh, I'm going to say this and this is going to happen. No, play both scenarios. Play both how things could go in a good way and how things could go in a bad way, because they can. Remember, we as humans, are slightly unpredictable. And on top of that, we have our own thing going on. You could talk to a person one day feeling this is going to be a good conversation. That person could just be having a bad day. That person could have had a close call with COVID. That person could have had a breakup. That person could have had a bad workout. Whatever the case may be. That person may have certain preferences. Whatever the case may be. Interpret both the good scenario and the bad scenario when it comes to social stuff. Now, granted, always, of course, think positive. Always think more on the positive outcome. But always be aware of the negative outcome. If I had to say it like that. Look for the positive. Be aware of the negative. All I'm saying. And my mission for you is try that with different scenarios. Like, just have a week or 2 week experiment of, okay, I want to get better at said thing. Do 30 minutes or whatever you can spare of physical practice. And then when you're chilling out, when nothing's on TV, mentally rehearse how you can improve in that practice, or mentally rehearse you doing said technique and keep rehearsing it until it feels comfortable with you. As Joe Dispenza would say, keep practicing it until it is made real in your body. Because there's been multiple studies on this. If you want to look up these studies, please look up anything involving mental rehearsal affecting the body. Please look up Joe Dispenza, because there's a lot of techniques that he advises that this stuff can happen, that the mind affects the body. And to add on to it, there's one more story that I remember of how powerful mental rehearsal can be. And it was based about this story about this guy who skis down a mountain. And then he gets injured. It was a bad injury. Like, he had to stay bedridden for about a couple of months. And everyone thought like, oh, he's not going to ski again. He's not going to ski as awesome as he did before. And when he was healed, well, a few things he wanted to go do is go skiing. And then when he got up on the mountain, he skied as if nothing happened. And everyone looked at him and was like, wait, how did that happen? Like, what did you do? Like, do you have miracle legs or something? And he said, no. It's just that when I was bedridden, every day, for almost as many times as I could, I'd visualize me skiing down the slope. how I'd move, what the snow, what the temperature would feel like, what obstacles would come up, and how I would pretty much move around them, dodge with them, how I'd flow with them. I would do that every day, almost 1,000 times a day. The effects of the mind affecting the body. Keep that in mind, everyone. I hope this landed for some of y'all. Please let me know if it did. As usual, if you like any of this content, whether you be from the YouTube side or the podcast side, please let me know. Please like, share, follow, comment, donate. If you want to donate, go to my podcast. There should be a donate button if possible. If not, just show me love. Let me know that you dig this. Is just as fine. As usual, I hope you have an awesome day. I hope this carries on with whatever difficulties you're going through, and this helps with an idea that you have to come out of that situation. With that being said, I'm your host, Quan, and as always, deuces.